There is an invisible force at work beyond logic, beyond chance encounters and trivial coincidences. When two souls meet with an intensity that defies reason, something greater may be at play. The secret movement of the collective unconscious, the silent call of wholeness. Amid so many passing meetings, how can you tell if he is the one chosen by the universe? The answer is not in empty promises or appearances. It reveals itself in subtle clues, marks bearing the seal of the deep psyche. In this video, we'll explore 3 signs that, according to Carl Jung's philosophy, indicate this meeting may not be a matter of chance, but rather an archetypal connection destined to transform both your journeys. Pay attention. The soul always whispers before it shouts. Comment below. I am ready to recognize what the universe already knows. From Carl Jung's perspective, relationships are not merely encounters between personalities, but collisions of inner worlds, unconscious parts that seek one another, project onto one another, and confront one another to reveal what lies hidden. When we speak of someone chosen by the universe, we're approaching Jung's concept of synchronicity, meaningful events that cannot be explained by causality, yet carry deep significance for those who experience them. If you feel that meeting was different, that something greater was at work, Jung would say you must listen to the symbol behind the experience. Projection, another fundamental concept, occurs when we place onto the other parts of ourselves we have not yet recognized, our light and our shadow. Sometimes we sense someone is unique because unconsciously they reflect an inner aspect that needs to be seen and integrated. That reflection may come from the anima or animus archetype, the masculine image within a woman's psyche, or from the individuation journey itself, which calls us to integrate opposites and move toward wholeness. Recognizing the signs of a meaningful meeting requires awareness. The clues are not only in gestures or words, but in inexplicable sensations, symbolic repetitions, dreams that accompany the relationship. True connection is neither solely emotional nor rational. It is archetypal. When it occurs, it mobilizes internal forces that propel us toward transformation. The universe then stops being an abstract idea and becomes a mirror of what already lives within us. There are moments in life when something happens outside of logic, defying linear reasoning and making a profound impact on our inner world. Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence between an inner psychic state and an external event, without any obvious causal link, yet laden with symbolic meaning. When we meet someone and instinctively feel there is something greater guiding that moment, we may be witnessing one of these manifestations. What gives a simple encounter this aura of mystery and purpose? It isn't the initial conversation, the location, or the exact timing. It's the echo they produce inside us. It's the inexplicable feeling of familiarity, as if we're recognizing someone who has always been present, deep within our soul. When these encounters coincide with times of transition, pain, expansion, or inner seeking, they become even more potent. In this context, the universe is not an external, separate entity, but the totality to which we belong, and which manifests itself through symbols. It's important to understand that synchronicity is not superstition or a desire for magic, but a deeply transformative experience. It breaks deterministic thinking and puts us in touch with meaning. When someone appears in your life at a moment when you are ready to change, to see something new or to heal something old, that can be an indication this meeting was not random. The psyche's subjective time and the objective time of reality converge like two currents crossing at the precise point of a spiritual crossroads. Jung believed the collective unconscious communicates with us through archetypal images, dreams, and symbol-laden events. A person who enters your life carrying patterns, symbols, behaviors, and feelings that resonate within you may represent more than just a potential partner. They may be a manifestation of something your soul is ready to integrate. This integration often arrives disguised as romance, enchantment, or desire, but its purpose is revelation. Paying attention to the universe's signs is, in fact, an exercise in inner listening. It's not about anxiously hunting for clues or forcing interpretations. True synchronicity doesn't need to be pursued. It asserts itself. You feel that meeting has something to say. A song playing at the exact right moment, a premonitory dream, a repeating symbol. chance words that touch deep layers of your psyche. All these can express a greater message being conveyed. But synchronicity only becomes meaningful to those willing to see it. It demands presence, openness, and symbolic sensitivity. It's easy to ignore, laugh at, or dismiss any sign of the invisible as mere coincidence. Yet when we look with the soul's eyes, we realize the greatest encounters in life seldom follow rational logic. They occur beyond expectation and confront us with something essential. This kind of recognition is not gentle, it is often unsettling. You may feel something inside you being stirred. He arrives and in some way activates dormant parts of your consciousness. It could be a surge of transformation, a memory flooding back, a sudden courage to change something in your life. Synchronicity not only confirms but also provokes, and meeting someone who seems chosen by the universe is never neutral. It moves, disturbs, and redirects. Therefore, the first sign that this person may be tied to your destiny isn't in what they say or do, but in what happens within you when you encounter them. If the world seems to conspire to bring you together, if recurring symbols point to this bond, if your soul reacts with intensity and meaning, perhaps it is not just a love story. It may be the call of wholeness, echoing through synchronicity, guiding you towards something far beyond romance, a reunion with a part of yourself. When we fall in love, we often feel we stand before someone unique, almost mythical. Yet the power of that feeling does not always originate in the other person. It often comes from a powerful projection arising from our own unconscious. Carl Jung best described this phenomenon. He said we project onto others not only qualities we desire, but also deep, forgotten aspects of ourselves. In women, this projection often manifests through the animus archetype, the masculine image within the female psyche. The animus is not a real man, but a psychic structure containing the masculine qualities a woman needs to integrate on her individuation journey: reason, strength, direction, clarity, spirituality. When she meets a man who embodies even a fraction of these traits, an unconscious activation can be experienced as instant love, fascination, or a feeling of completion. However, this experience is not merely emotional. It represents a mirroring of something that already exists within her, but has not yet been fully recognized. This projection process can be intense, leading to idealization. The woman may see in him a guide, a savior, a teacher, or someone to elevate her to another level of existence. To some extent, he really can play that catalytic role. But it's vital to understand that this power does not belong exclusively to him. He is the trigger, not the source. The true encounter is happening within her. It is with her animus, the inner masculine she is seeking to reconnect with. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial, for it can be both liberating and dangerous. If she believes only he can complete her and becomes dependent on his presence to feel whole, she risks losing herself in projection. But if she understands he is there to reflect a part of herself, the relationship becomes an instrument of growth and revelation. The encounter becomes sacred not because he is perfect, but because he reveals exactly what she needs to integrate. This mirroring also uncovers wounds. Often, the projected animus carries negative traits. He may be authoritarian, cold, critical, or distant. When these aspects surface in the partner, she may feel anger, frustration, or rejection. Yet Jung reminds us, the unconscious always strives for wholeness. If the masculine that appears is shadowed, it may indicate a distorted relationship with this principle within her, a difficulty trusting her own strength, asserting her will, or taking charge of her life. In this sense, the man who arrives and provokes intense reactions fulfills a fundamental role. He reveals. He acts as a symbolic mirror, showing not only what she loves and desires, but also what she fears, rejects, and needs to heal. The beauty of this process is that while she is enchanted by him, she also has the chance to look inward and realize that the energy drawing her is, in fact, waiting to be awakened within herself. When the reunion with the inner masculine occurs, emotional dependence diminishes, and the relationship can flourish more authentically. She no longer seeks to be completed, but to share. Love ceases to be a refuge or an idealization, and becomes a genuine meeting between two beings who recognize both their light and their shadow. In that recognition, connection deepens, not because of the other's perfection, but because of the courage to look within. Thus, one of the clearest signs that someone plays a significant role in your journey is how much he activates your inner world. If he awakens deep emotions, if you feel something essential being touched, if there is an impulse to grow, change, or better understand who you are, then this man is not just a potential partner, he is a living reflection of your psychic process. Understanding this is the first step out of projection and into a real relationship where love does not conceal but reveals. Meeting someone whom we feel is chosen by the universe does not always manifest as peace, harmony, or lightness. Often this person stirs confusing, intense, even contradictory feelings in us. He pulls us off balance, makes us vulnerable, forces us to face parts of ourselves we would rather keep hidden. And that is precisely why such an encounter can be so significant. It activates the shadow. According to Jung, the shadow comprises everything we repress, deny, or fail to recognize about ourselves, personality aspects we deem unacceptable, shameful, or dangerous. It is not purely negative, it can contain precious qualities like courage, boldness, authenticity, and desire. Yet, having been rejected or misunderstood, these facets have been banished to the unconscious. When we meet someone who deeply attracts us, they connect us not only to love, but also bring us face to face with these forgotten parts. This process is inevitable in deep, intimate relationships. The other serves as a mirror, not only for what is beautiful and luminous in us, but also for what remains in conflict. As the bond deepens, masks fall and defenses weaken. Disproportionate reactions, intense jealousy, old insecurities, irrational fears, even anger emerge. Many interpret this as a sign the relationship is wrong, when in fact it may indicate profound inner work being activated. The relationship becomes a mirror of the soul. When this man evokes emotions greater than the moment requires, when his presence stirs memories or wounds long thought healed, he may be touching your shadow directly. This does not happen because he intends to hurt or provoke, but because true intimacy has the power to open psychic doors that normally remain closed. The other becomes a channel through which the unconscious expresses itself, revealing what still needs to be welcomed and integrated. This kind of connection, then, is not comfortable. It is transformative. The suffering it brings is not a sign of failure, but of confrontation. It can bring up ancestral insecurities, inherited childhood patterns, unprocessed experiences with parental figures, and old traumas. Sometimes what you feel is not about him, but what he represents. Perhaps the absent father, the love that never arrived, the abandonment of the past. All this is projected onto him, unbeknownst to him. When he disappears for a while or reacts coldly, he may activate deep-seated wounds of rejection or abandonment. The pain is real, but its meaning goes beyond the surface. Jung asserted the shadow can only be integrated when consciously recognized. That means these intense reactions are not obstacles to love, but invitations to healing. When you allow yourself to observe your feelings with attentive curiosity, without guilt or repression, you begin to see what lies behind them. Anger may hide vulnerability. Jealousy may reveal a fear of not being enough. Dependence may point to a lack of contact with your own autonomy. And this man, by awakening these emotions, functions as an instrument of revelation, perhaps without even knowing it. Of course, not every intense relationship is beneficial. Some bonds become toxic, imprisoning, repeating destructive patterns without offering growth. But there is a clear difference between a relationship that suffocates and one that reveals. In the first, you lose yourself. In the second, you transform. And when transformation occurs, even if painful, the individuation process is underway. Therefore, if this man awakens in you not only love and admiration, but also fear, insecurity, anger, or sadness, that may be a clue he has a deep role in your journey. He activates not just your light, but also your shadow, and by doing so, he opens the possibility of integration, the chance to become more whole, more conscious, more authentic. His presence illuminates what was hidden, and from that light, however uncomfortable, comes the freedom to be who you truly are. At the heart of Jung's analytical psychology lies the process of individuation, the path by which the individual becomes who they really are, integrating their internal opposites, their shadows, their complexes, and archetypal images. It is a journey of psychic and spiritual maturation, where one stops living by external expectations and begins living in harmony with one's essence. For many, this process seems solitary, reserved for moments of introspection. But Jung was clear that deep relationships, especially romantic ones, are powerful catalysts of individuation. The other, in this context, becomes not just a partner, but a mirror of the self. When you meet someone who resonates with your soul in both a profound and challenging way, you face a rare opportunity to grow through love. And we're not talking about an idealized, conflict-free romance. We mean a love that demands, that reveals, that transforms. This kind of connection is not based only on pleasure or compatibility, but on its capacity to generate inner movement. And that is one of the greatest signs this person may be here for more than shared moments. They may fulfill an initiatory role in your journey. Being in a relationship with someone who activates dormant parts of your psyche is not simple. It requires courage to face projections, awareness to distinguish what is theirs from what is yours, and willingness to stay even in the face of pain. Shared individuation is not the sum of two halves, but the meeting of two beings committed to their own inner processes. This commitment shows in small acts, sincere dialogue, acceptance of differences, listening to each other's wounds without judgment. When this man appears in your life and somehow awakens in you the desire to be truer, more whole, more connected to your essence, it is a sign he is acting as an agent of individuation. He is not responsible for your transformation, but he can be the catalyst. The true partner chosen by the universe is not the one who promises eternal protection or magical solutions, but the one whose presence compels you to grow. He may come with challenges, with noise, with moments of distance or conflict, but ultimately, each experience with him opens space for you to see who you really are with greater clarity. Shared individuation also involves integrating the masculine and feminine archetypes within oneself. When a woman is with a man who embodies positive animus aspects, she begins to integrate those qualities within herself: greater assertiveness, stronger presence, inner strength. The relationship ceases to be emotional dependence and becomes a symbolic laboratory where she learns to assert herself, trust her rational intuition, and act with clarity. Meanwhile, if he is willing, he too will be guided to integrate his anima, becoming more sensitive, more empathetic, more connected to his inner dimension. This kind of bond transcends traditional romantic models. It is spiritual in the broadest sense, not due to beliefs or rituals, but because it connects both partners with their own inner mystery. Even if such a relationship does not last forever, its impact is lasting. Jung said the self, the psyche's regulating center, uses human encounters to facilitate the soul's reintegration. In other words, even a brief but deep relationship can have an initiatory value. Thus, the fourth and perhaps most revealing sign that he is chosen by the universe is not how long he stays, but how much he stirs movement within you. If, since he arrived in your life, you have begun questioning old patterns, re-evaluating choices, healing ancient wounds, and connecting with a deeper truth, then this man, consciously or not, is serving as a mediator of your individuation process. In the end, what Jung teaches us is that every true encounter is a portal, and some meetings, as inexplicable, intense, or challenging as they may be, carry within them the power of integration. Individuation never happens in complete isolation. It needs the other as mirror, as challenge, as impetus. When love becomes this path, the universe ceases to be distant and becomes a living force, working silently behind every touch, every word, every transformation. When someone enters our life and deeply destabilizes us, it is not just an emotional accident, it is a symbolic call. As we have seen, if he seems chosen by the universe, it will not be only for the enchantment he brings, but for the layers he reveals. Synchronicity, projections of the inner masculine, shadow confrontation, and the push toward individuation form an invisible script pointing to something greater, a journey of self-knowledge activated by the presence of the other. The invitation is not to idealize the encounter, but to understand it in its complexity. He may come to stay or only to awaken, but if he transforms your perception, forces you to look within, and activates forgotten aspects of your soul, then he has fulfilled a fundamental role. True love does not put you to sleep, it awakens. And in that awakening, you not only recognize the other, but also rediscover yourself. If this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Watch now the video on screen. It delves even deeper into the symbols the unconscious reveals when you are ready to grow. Remember, every prepared soul recognizes the sign when it arrives.